Hi everybody, my name is Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food on both YouTube and Facebook. How are you today? I have my bulletproof coffee. What are you drinking? I've never had a bulletproof tea, but a lot of people have it. I wonder what it tastes like. So anyway, here we are. And I was thinking of this old-fashioned saying because it has come true in my life in so many different times. And it never stops coming true, which is something that I really love. I was just listening to George Noory, Coast to Coast Overnight Talk Radio, while preparing my bulletproof coffee and feeding the kitties. And there was this woman, and with a certain subject matter, and she just could not believe that this could be. That she just was such a doubting Thomas, and she would not follow, adhere, believe, or even want to go further with what her belief was. That was simply that. And she was just standing invincible with her feelings. And then she met a master. And this master turned her head around and she went to him and she went to him and she, just started asking him questions, and he just said, I guess he was from Ireland, and he just blinked his eyes and looked at her and he goes, "Read my books." And she's like, well, how dare he? He wouldn't even engage in conversation. And so that she did. And not only did she read his books, but she bought the books that were on the subject matter that weren't even translated and or just brief, easily translated, and just took a whole summer and studied the works of this subject matter plus this man's books. And she called him up and she said, "Do you think it would be okay if we had lunch together?" And he said, "Yes." And now that's a master, right? Because he knows. And so they met for lunch, and he used certain phrases or inferences or points of reference that she could tell she needed to reread this information again to get it. And so since she has. So the topic is, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I love that. And I've learned that all my life, at work, at play, in 12-step programs, and here with this way of eating, with the way that my belief system, my philosophies, and everything else. And so it is just fascinating when the light bulb, and it's on a dimmer, right? It's not just a flipping on and off. Sometimes I think when we relapse, our switch goes on and off just that quickly. But I think the dimmer part is for how much we can learn about what we're doing with our food choices, our health, and just our lifestyle of how we treat food, how we are around food, and what we do with our food. And it slowly brightens as we become willing to learn more. And some of us get all of our juice from one place. And then there's others of us that learn from all the different masters, as it were. And in the 12-step programs in AA, the Big Book, often referred to the Big Blue Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, was written way back in the 30s by a group of men, no women. And in the original book, there's a whole section on the wives. Now, there's probably not too many of us in 2016 that might have a little issue with that. And in subsequent updates, I was going to say translations, right? There have been stories about, of course, females that are drug addicts and alcoholics and finding a 12-step way of life. And so it's all very, very interesting. And so I often equate that to going to my gynecologist. And if he pulled a book off the shelf, written in 1935 about what he thought my ailment might be, and he had to blow off the dust to come up with what he thought, I'd be scared, because we have so much information at our fingertips today. So there's many masters out there. There's a lot of false prophets, which I would say would be perhaps in the food and drug industry, the pills and potions that perhaps we all partook in, trying to find that magic elixir that would get us to that size 6, right? And so for some it worked, obviously, because we've got those skinny bodies up there. I don't know. But those could be false prophets, at least in the lifestyle that I live, because I live a lifestyle where I want to choose the least altered, tampered with foods. And it is a journey for sure. Most of us have learned the slow, painful, sometimes expensive way. And so how we all get to the lifestyle of eating nutritiously dense foods is an individual story that, of course, I always love to hear in the comments. And it takes what it takes to get us here. So yes, when the student is ready, the master does appear, or the teacher appears. And so there's so many different places in our lives where we've met these people. Like, how did they come to us? It's so spiritual. How did this person come into my life? And I'm listening and I'm doing this. It could be whatever, or it could be even just a food plan. Weight Watchers, for example. You know, some people, when they reach their Weight Watchers meeting, it's like, wow, how come I wasn't willing to understand this before? Or other food programs. It's like, why was I so stubborn in my belief system? Why was I holding on to it? And so it takes what it takes for us to get where we're going. But if you're eating a nutritiously dense food plan, maybe it's keto, maybe it's low carb, high fat, maybe you're just counting a number of calories and trying to pack it with as much nutrition as you possibly can. Maybe you're just at the place where it's like, why is she telling me to give up the yellow, blue, and pink packets? What's the big deal with those things? Everybody I know uses them. Well, there's a lot of the peer stuff that goes on too. If you're hanging out with a bunch of people that graze their way down the franchise street, and that's their idea of eating, well, stepping away from the pack and learning that there's a healthier way is going to take some doing. And who knows where the spark comes from, but when it comes, it's so exciting. It's like, wow, I wish I had found this, done this, tried this, changed this, altered this sooner. But sometimes we don't. Sometimes we stay where we're at because it's comfortable, because the fear of the jump into a whole new way of eating lifestyle is scary. Of course it's scary. You have to unlearn everything that mass media, mainstream advertisings and all those sort of things, they want us to believe. And so, you know, I spoke about it yesterday in a video that hasn't aired yet. If your breakfast only came in a bowl and your lunch only came between 2 pieces of bread, you just changed what the bread was or maybe what the cereal was in the bowl, and your dinner came from a packet, you know, it might be time to make some changes. You don't have to, but if you did, you might be the recipient of a better lifestyle, a better array of lab work done, a better feeling, more energy, less lethargy, especially in the summer. Since I gave up grains, this is my first summer grain-free. And yesterday I had an incredibly bloated day, but it was very, very hot, very, very humid, very, very full moon. That's without the grains. So I'm just a female with that bloat thing, that no matter what I eat, but if I had had grains all day, if I had my usual breakfast in a bowl, lunch between two pieces of bread, excuse me, I would have been very, very uncomfortable, not to mention very, very bloated. I was very bloated at the end of the day, but not very, very. And so change comes when we get the spark. And for some of us, it's sooner rather than later. But not ignoring it is the key. No, I want so much for you, all of you, to just get that better way of eating and to slowly trust in the process of giving up things. Because it worked for me, it works for gazillions of other people. How do I know? Because I'm following their sites to see what it is that they're doing, what their recipes are, how they keep losing weight on the scale, feeling better, great labs, more energy, and it's all over their face. That's how I learn, and that's how a lot of you learn here too. You know, we just, all of a sudden we get sparked and we go, oh, I get it a little bit. I'm going to go to the grocery store and check out the back of these packages that I'm buying. And if my, here again, if my grandmother wouldn't have recognized it, or my grandmother wouldn't have chosen it off the shelves because it's a new product, because it's processed, then maybe I shouldn't either. Maybe it is the good old-fashioned way. The less tampered with food, the better it probably is for the human body. But sometimes we have to learn it the long and hard way. And the consequences are the weight that we just can't seem to take off. So it might be something that you're eating. And it might be something that if you didn't eat it, you may see a difference in your life, in your energy, in your body, on the scale. Just give it a try. Just give it a try. I know what it's like to be stuck on stubborn. Trust me. I'm almost 66 and I have been stuck on stubborn on a lot of things. And it has not played out well. But the more that I can stop resisting, the better my lifestyle and my food choices get. Give it a try. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food. Bye-bye for now.